In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on January 19, 2026, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Indiana Pacers versus Philadelphia 76ers. The Indiana Pacers pay a visit to the Philadelphia 76ers at the Xfinity Mobile Arena on Monday night. The Pacers just beat the Pelicans, then turned around and lost to the Pistons, and they have the Celtics on deck, so their schedule is not exactly light this week. Even so, they have won 4 of their last 6 games, so there has been more good than bad lately. Philadelphia's recent stretch has been a little uneven too. The 76ers lost to the Cavaliers, bounced back against the Raptors, and they play the Suns next, which is another tough test. They have still managed to win 6 of their last 10, which quietly keeps them trending in a decent direction even if it has not always looked convincing. On the injury front, the Pacers have ruled out Benedict Mathurin and Tyrese Halliburton, while the 76ers are watching Joel Embiid and Paul George, with both listed as questionable. Indiana had started to build a bit of momentum, but that ugly loss to the Pistons in their last outing was bad enough that you might expect the line to lean harder toward Philadelphia. The 76ers nearly took down the Cavaliers in their last game, and they probably would be even bigger favorites here if there were not so many question marks around George and Embiid again. Here is the thing, though, the 76ers are coming off a rough week, and once again we are staring at a report that has their 2 biggest names in doubt. Even with Mathurin and Halliburton out, the Pacers are still about as healthy and settled as they have been for long stretches of the season, and they are starting to rack up wins instead of moral victories. They have also taken 5 of the last 7 meetings against the 76ers, which might not decide anything on its own, but it does show they have matched up fairly well. Yes, the Pacers have serious problems on the road, where they are just 2-17 straight up, and that record is hard to ignore. But this is still a hefty number to lay with a Philadelphia team in shaky form that could be missing 2 starters again, and that combination tends to keep the back door open for the underdog. As our first pick for this matchup, the Indiana Pacers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Indiana Pacers are averaging 110.6 points on 44.2% shooting and allowing 118.3 points on 48.3% shooting. They are shooting 34.3% from beyond the arc and 77.6% from the free throw line. They are allowing 33.6% shooting from deep and are grabbing 42.8 rebounds per game. The Philadelphia 76ers bring a slightly stronger scoring profile. They are averaging 116.9 points on 45.4% shooting and allowing 115.6 points on 46.4% shooting. They are hitting 35.6% from three-point range and 82% at the free throw line. They are allowing 33.9% shooting from deep and pulling down 44.3 rebounds per game. On paper, those kinds of stats might push you to expect a fairly high scoring tempo, especially with both defenses giving up healthy field goal percentages. But totals are as much about rhythm, line value, and who is actually on the court as they are about raw averages. With the Pacers missing key offensive pieces and the 76ers potentially without Embiid and George, there is a real chance that the offensive flow is choppier than the season numbers suggest. Games like this can slow down into more half-court possessions, long stretches of grinding through sets, and a few more empty trips when secondary scorers are asked to create. Honestly, when you combine those injury concerns with the shooting percentages, you can still see plenty of points, just not necessarily an all-out track meet. A slightly slower pace, less efficient looks for both sides, and a bit of late-game tightness can all work together to keep the final number from soaring too high, even with solid offensive averages on both sheets. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Phoenix Suns versus Brooklyn Nets. The Phoenix Suns and Brooklyn Nets meet Monday in NBA action at the Barclays Center. Phoenix comes in with some real momentum. The Suns lost to the Pistons, bounced back to beat the Knicks, and they play the 76ers next, so they are not exactly getting a breather in the schedule. Even with that stumble in Detroit, they have still won 11 of their last 16 games, which tells you they have quietly settled into a strong groove. Brooklyn is in a very different place emotionally. The Nets lost to the Pelicans, then split a mini set with the Bulls, and they see the Knicks next. They have dropped 9 of their last 11 games, and that kind of slide wears on a group, especially when the defense is leaking and the losses start to blur together. On the injury front, the Suns could be short-handed again, with Jalen Green, Jamari Bouye, and Devin Booker all listed as questionable. The Nets have ruled out Drake Powell, Zaire Williams, and Haywood Highsmith. Brooklyn will probably have Michael Porter Jr. back in the lineup after he was rested last night, which helps a little on paper, but honestly it does not completely change the shape of this matchup. Phoenix has built a habit of winning even while banged up, which is usually a pretty good sign of a mature team identity rather than a fluke run. Booker's return to the lineup sparked a sharp 106-99 win at Madison Square Garden over the weekend, their 25th victory in 42 games this season. From a betting angle, this has been the most reliable group against the spread, covering in roughly 70% of games so far, which is wild in a league where the numbers are usually tight. On the Martin Luther King Day slate, they travel to Brooklyn to face New York's other team, aiming to beat the Nets for the 7th time in 9 meetings. Phoenix has taken 10 wins in its last 14 games overall, and it has beaten the Nets 4 times in their last 5 visits to Brooklyn, which adds another layer of confidence if you are backing the favorite. For Brooklyn, December is starting to look like a weird one-off. During that month, they had the best defense in the league, which feels almost surreal compared to what we have seen lately. Since then, they have not come close to that level, dropping games to the Grizzlies, Mavericks, Pelicans, and Bulls while giving up a ton of points. Over the last 10 games, they sit just 28th in defensive efficiency, and the constant in and out of Michael Porter Jr. due to injuries has not helped their overall rhythm. Recent news is leaning toward him possibly sitting again on Monday, which only adds more uncertainty. Then there is the motivation piece, which you can feel if you watch them for a couple of games. One team looks like it is stacking wins and covers with purpose, and the other looks more and more like it is sliding into tank mode, angling for draft position. The Suns are a league best 29-11-2 against the spread on the season, so if you had blindly backed them every night, you would basically be sitting on a pile of tickets you feel pretty good about. There is also a realistic chance Phoenix is close to full strength for this one, with Green listed as questionable rather than out. Even if Booker is not ready, this Suns side has shown it can still handle business against teams like Brooklyn that are struggling at both ends. In a matchup where one team is surging and the other keeps drifting, laying points with the proven group makes a lot more sense than hoping the struggling side suddenly finds itself. As our first pick for this matchup, the Phoenix Suns to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The Phoenix Suns are averaging 114.7 points on 46.3% shooting and allowing 111.8 points on 46.7% shooting. They are shooting 36.3% from beyond the arc and 79.5% from the free throw line. They are allowing 34.9% shooting from deep and are grabbing 43.5 rebounds per game. The Brooklyn Nets come in with more modest numbers on offense and worse ones on defense. They are averaging 108.8 points on 44.7% shooting and allowing 113.9 points on 48.5% shooting. From long range, the Nets are shooting 34.3% from beyond the arc and 78% at the free throw line. They are allowing 37.2% shooting from deep and they are grabbing 40.2 rebounds per game. Put side by side, that tells you a couple of things. Phoenix scores at a solid clip and does it with efficient shooting from both the field and the free throw line. Brooklyn gives up a high field goal percentage and allows opponents to get comfortable from 3, which is a rough combination when you are facing a team that can space the floor and punish slow rotations. On the glass, the Suns have a small edge as well, which can mean extra possessions and second chance points, the kind of little things that quietly add up when you look at a total. There is also the larger context of where these defenses are right now. The Nets have fallen off from that strong December stretch and are now sitting near the bottom of the league in recent defensive efficiency. They have been giving up big numbers to a variety of opponents, not just elite offenses, which suggests the issues run deeper than just a bad matchup here or there. The Suns, for their part, are not exactly playing grinded-out defense either, so you can get stretches where both sides are trading makeable looks. Even with Suns injuries in play, that kind of environment often leans toward a scoreboard that stays busy. If Phoenix keeps its usual offensive rhythm and Brooklyn continues to allow clean shots while still putting up enough points of its own to avoid a total collapse, you get a game that can clear a typical number more often than not. Honestly, with these shooting percentages, Brooklyn's leaky perimeter defense, and Phoenix's ability to punish that, it is easier to imagine steady scoring than a defensive slugfest. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Boston Celtics versus Detroit Pistons. The Boston Celtics head to Little Caesars Arena on Monday night to face the Detroit Pistons in NBA action. The Celtics are coming into this one with some real momentum. They took care of the Heat, handled the Hawks, and have the Pacers up next, so it is a busy stretch, but they have still won 18 of their last 25 games. That kind of run gives them a certain confidence, even when the roster is not fully intact. Detroit is not limping into this matchup either. The Pistons beat the Suns, then the Pacers, and they draw the Pelicans after this. They have won 14 of their last 20 games, which is quite a turnaround compared to where they were earlier in the season. In terms of bodies available, Boston is still missing Jason Tatum. They are also monitoring Chris Boucher, Peyton Pritchard, and Josh Minott, with all three listed as questionable. The Pistons, on the other hand, do not have a single player on the injury report right now. They have won 5 of their last 6 and just crushed the Pacers by 43 points, and they did it without anyone needing a monster scoring night, which says a lot about how well the whole group is clicking. These teams have already played 3 times this season, and the Pistons have taken 2 of those meetings. Every one of those games was decided by 7 points or fewer, though, so we could easily be looking at another tight finish. The Celtics deserve credit for continuing to stack wins despite missing key pieces, but they will need to stay sharp against a Pistons side that is clearly heating up again. On the surface, you can make a strong case that Detroit should be favored at home, especially with the health advantage. However, the real value sits with Boston catching points. They have turned into one of the bigger surprises in the league and have done some of their strongest work away from home, already piling up 14 road wins. The underdog is 5-2 against the spread in the last 7 matchups between these teams, and in the last 2 meetings this season, the underdog has won outright. Since November 9th, the Celtics are 7-1 against the spread and 6-2 straight up when they are in the underdog role. Honestly, with that kind of track record, it is hard to justify stepping in front of them when they are getting points again. As our first pick for this matchup, the Boston Celtics to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Boston Celtics are averaging 117.2 points on 47.3% shooting and allowing 110.5 points on 45% shooting. The Boston Celtics are shooting 37.1% from beyond the arc and 79% from the free throw line. The Boston Celtics are allowing 36.8% shooting from deep and are grabbing 44.4 rebounds per game. The Detroit Pistons are not far behind in terms of offensive output. The Detroit Pistons are averaging 118.8 points on 48% shooting and allowing 112.7 points on 44.4% shooting. The Detroit Pistons are shooting 35.1% from beyond the arc and 75.3% from the free throw line. The Detroit Pistons are allowing 35% shooting from deep and are grabbing 46.3 rebounds per game. Even with those strong scoring averages, the recent trend suggests something different from a pure shootout. The Celtics and Pistons are playing like 2 of the better defensive units in the league right now, especially when you look at how totals have actually landed instead of just staring at averages. Boston has hit the under in 7 of its last 10 games. Detroit has gone under in 9 straight. At home, the Pistons have allowed just 97 points across their last 6 games at Little Caesars Arena, and every one of those contests cashed the under. So while the raw offensive numbers might push you to think big scoring, the way these teams are defending lately, the pace they are playing at, and the totals they are cashing all lean the other direction. With both sides showing they can clamp down, especially Detroit on its home floor, it makes sense to expect a lower scoring style, even if the names and averages suggest fireworks at first glance. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Miami Heat versus Golden State Warriors. The Miami Heat and Golden State Warriors meet Monday in NBA action at the Chase Center. The Heat are coming in off a choppy little stretch. They lost to the Celtics, bounced back with a win over the Thunder, and they play the Kings next, so it is not exactly a soft schedule. They have dropped 4 of their last 6 games, and that kind of run can mess with confidence, even for a veteran group. Golden State is trending in a much friendlier direction. The Warriors just took care of the Hornets and Knicks, and they will see the Raptors next. They have won 11 of their last 15 games, which makes it feel like they finally remembered who they are supposed to be. In terms of who is actually available, the Heat are still without Tyler Herro. They do expect to have Davion Mitchell and Jamie Jaquez Jr. back in the mix, which helps their guard and wing rotation. The Warriors are still missing Seth Curry, DeAnthony Melton, and Gaui Santos. Miami has not been close to its best for a while, but that gritty win over the Thunder in the last game would have given them a nice little jolt. Golden State, on the other hand, has quietly become one of the form teams in the league and is fresh off a big blowout over the Hornets, so seeing them open as home favorites makes perfect sense. Here is where it gets interesting for the spread. The Warriors have done a nice job feasting on bottom feeders lately, but they are still only 20 to 22 to 1 against the spread on the season. They still hit those weird scoring droughts, and they are not exactly a team you blindly trust against more respectable opponents. Miami is volatile. We never quite know which version shows up, but they are coming off that win over the Thunder, and they have taken 5 of the last 6 meetings against the Warriors. The Heat tend to play to the level of whoever is in front of them, which usually means they wake up for games like this. So even if Golden State is the hotter team overall, the points with a battle-tested Miami side in a matchup they have handled well lately look very appealing by the time you get to tip. As our first pick for this matchup, the Miami Heat to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Miami Heat are averaging 119.4 points on 46.9% shooting and allowing 117.7 points on 46% shooting. The Miami Heat are shooting 36.9% from beyond the arc and 79% from the free throw line. The Miami Heat are allowing 34.5% shooting from deep and are grabbing 45.6 rebounds per game. The Golden State side of the ledger looks similarly friendly to offense. The Golden State Warriors are averaging 115.5 points on 45.6% shooting and allowing 113.7 points on 47.2% shooting. The Golden State Warriors are shooting 35.9% from beyond the arc and 82% from the free throw line. The Golden State Warriors are allowing 34.8% shooting from deep and are grabbing 43.5 rebounds per game. Put together, that is a profile of 2 teams that score plenty and allow plenty. Miami's offense has been humming along at a strong clip, even while the defense has leaked more than the coaching staff would like. Golden State is giving up a high field goal percentage and still prefers to play with tempo and freedom, which often turns these games into open floor exchanges instead of half-court grinds. Yet neither side looks like it is built to turn this into a defensive clinic for 4 quarters, especially with the way both allow clean looks from deep. So while there can always be cold stretches, the combination of efficient scoring, shaky defense, and decent rebounding on both sides points more toward a busy scoreboard than a slow crawl. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.